The use of body modifications, including tattoos, piercings, tanning or whitening, plastic surgery, and many more alterations, can be dated back to the first written words in 3100 BC. However, the meaning of each is different from each culture and are constantly changing based on the time period or social preference. Would you say it's more common to see tanning or whitening in your culture?
I think there's a mixture of those that stay indoors trying to blend in with the white people, and then you have the other ones that don't care and they want to just have a really nice overall tan color on their face and their arms or maybe their full body. So I think there's a mixture of that.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
Because of their upbringing, I think.
Okay.
Sometimes they're just socially pressured to be like a white person, a white idol, or maybe, a different idol that they're really like to look like.
Despite the health concerns, why do you think people continue to tan or whiten their bodies?
They think it's their way of showing who they are, where they're from, and it's just their culture that makes them think that's a normal thing to do.
Many modern American body modifications have been borrowed from other cultures, such as the practice of shaving down one's teeth for a shark-like effect, as well as the piercing of the nose and other body parts. Seeing how the majority of the American public disapproves of plastic surgery, while most Asians speak highly of it, even though there are celebrities in both cultures that undergo this surgery, what social norms do you think make Americans and Asians' views on this topic so different?
I think for Americans, people want you to look a certain way, but they want you to naturally look that way.
Yeah.
But in the Asian culture, it's like if you have the ability to fix it, you're going to fix it. It's a cosmetic thing. So it's not as like shamed. Where here, it's like, oh, how could you do that to your body? But like if you don't look a certain way, then you're also frowned upon.
Would you say that liposuction is becoming more accepted? A, because of the health benefits, B, because they want to feel more comfortable in their own body, or C, because people want to be thin to feel more accepted?
So especially because of like the obesity epidemic that we have in America, I think it's becoming more normal for people to get like, a tummy tuck. I think it's becoming more of a thing of like, well, if you can't reach like a healthy weight yourself, they don't want you to die prematurely, especially now because people are more accepting of other people looking a certain way, and that just comes with like, movements for people to be who they are and look how they look. I think now, people are like, oh, like, yeah, you want to like look thinner or you want a thicker body, like you can go do that because that's more accepted than before.
Everybody wants to be thin.
Okay.
To be more
So
accepted.
it's not like
it's not
a personal thing.
No.
It's like societal
No.
norms, people are thin.
Yep.
Then how does society play a role in this idea that people have to be thin to feel more comfortable with who they are?
Look at all the models. Look at all the clothing. Everything is always made for thin, young people.
Tattooing is also becoming more common among young adults in American culture. Yet according to the Journal of Social Psychology, tattoos are common in the United States. However, tattooed persons may be perceived as having more negative character and as more deviant than people without tattoos. The stigma associated with tattoos appears to still exist despite the prevalence of tattoos in modern culture. How do you think all these bodily modifications affect someone's mental state and contribute to changes in cultural traditions?
There's too much pressure on kids nowadays to try to fit in, and they can't just be themselves or be like what their culture was or eat things from their culture.
So body modifications affect someone's mental state. I think a lot of people think that it's going to make them feel better. And for some people it does. But I think if you're constantly needing to change things for your body to be happy, that it's really not addressing the issue.
So how does it contribute to changes in cultural traditions?
The more people are open about like, oh, I did this, and they're not shamed, or more people are doing that than not doing that, I think the more society and culture is going to just open up about those things and not be as judgmental about them.
Less noticeable or talked about bodily modifications, like circumcision and the long process of changing one's gender, seem to be sensitive subjects that are taboo in many cultures. But some cultures, like in the Jewish culture, circumcision is a traditional ritual that is a physical representation of the covenant between God and Abraham, described in the Old Testament, and is required for the inclusion of males in the Jewish faith. For most, this debate is governed by the religious beliefs of the many different cultures of the world, but for those which it has no effect upon, the concern is that performing such a surgery would take away a man's choice to have the surgery or not. If there were more practical uses to body modifications, would this change your idea of getting one?
My guess is for myself, probably no, but I could see why a lot of people would if it became practical. I think if we had, the ability to like find people who've gone missing, children who've been kidnapped, like those sorts of things, I think more people would be open to the idea. But then, there's always the ability to abuse things like that. And when it's personal, when it's inside your body, you don't want other people to have the power to do that.
It has been said by the National Academies Press that resistance or skepticism may be an outgrowth of concerns about the degree to which an innovation affects cultural identity or may distort socioeconomic patterns in a fashion that is harmful to at least some part of the population. Using bodily modifications to enhance human abilities are in the works and are becoming more popular with time despite the worries that come along with them, just as other traditions are becoming more or less desirable amongst different cultures. Thank you.